Hey everyone, it's Austin. I'm back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a keiki removal on Phalaenopsis and show you exactly when you should be removing the keikis and how to pot them up. So I have a plant here with three pretty large keikis, and we have one and then two in this one. So we have three keikis total. As you can see, this keiki's pretty mature and ready to remove. It has 5 roots, and as you can see, the roots are really long. And same on these. This one also has 4 roots, and the roots are about 3 to 5 inches. And whoops, same with this one. As you probably know, keikis are just baby orchids that are growing on flower spikes or on the stem of the plant. And what you can do is you can remove it and it'll be an exact copy of the mother plant. So these 3 keikis on this plant are going to have the exact same blooms. It's a direct clone of the mother plant. And as you can see, this keiki actually already bloomed on this spike from the mother spike. So the mother spike comes out like this, made a baby orchid, and then this orchid this year actually put out its own spike and bloomed. And what will happen is if I leave this on, this will also make another keiki. So it'll be 3 generations: mother plant, baby plant of the baby plant. You want to wait until the keiki's roots are about 2 to 3 inches long and it has at least 3 roots to remove it. And all you're going to have to do is take a pair of scissors that you sterilized, get your orchid, and so right here is where the orchid made the keiki. And I'm going to actually cut it a little bit above because I don't want to risk any bacterial infection. So I could cut it right here, but that's too close. So I'm going to cut it right above it, right here. Don't worry, the plant is safe. And I'm going to take all 3 of these off. So I'm going to cut it right here. I don't want to go right here because it's too close to the plant. So I want to go about right here, right below a node. And this one, same thing. Let me get it a little closer, one sec. Alright, so we're going to go right here again. Not too close. And let me show you what I mean by not too close. So I'm leaving a little bit right here instead of going right next to the base of the keiki. On this one, same thing. I left a little bit here of the stem. You can twist them off, but I prefer to cut them. I think it's just better. There's no risk of messing up the plant or anything. So I just cut it a little bit, like maybe a 1/4 inch. So this one's a weird situation because the keiki didn't grow at the end of the spike here, where my pinky is. It grew in the middle, so it's kind of a hard removal. So I'm actually going to leave that on the plant. And then once it grows bigger, I'll just cut the spike. But I want to leave this on because it's kind of a difficult spot to get to. I don't know if you can tell, but right here, it's like kind of stuck in there. So I'm just going to leave this one. We'll let these dry. What I do is I let this fresh cut right here, I let it callus over just for a few hours. You can wait a day. Usually I wait a day, but for this video, I'll just wait a couple hours, come back and pot them. So once you remove them, let them dry. This will callus over. The reason I let it callus over is I don't want to risk any bacterial infection from water or anything. Even though I'm using reverse osmosis or distilled water, there can still be bacteria in water. So even though I'm fairly certain there isn't, I just want to make sure it calluses over so there's no room for infection for the plant. And let me show you the 3 keikis. So we have 1 in my right, 1 in my left, 2. and 3. So this is a visual representation of what you're looking for. You want the roots to be as long as you can wait for, honestly. So let these dry for a couple hours. I'll come back and I'm going to pot them in moss, probably in a 2.5 inch pot. You don't want to over pot them because their roots are used to being dry. So I'm going to really loosely pack moss and then water lightly for a few weeks. And then after about a month, I'll start really watering them a lot. But we'll come back and I'll show you exactly how I pot them in moss. All right, so it's been a few hours, and if you can see right here, it's not green, it's actually calloused over. It's like a light green color, and there's no smell to it, which means it's properly sealed. Same here. You can see right here, it's calloused over, and same on the third. So now I'm going to prepare some moss so that we can put this in a 2.5 inch pot. So to prepare the moss, I'm using 1 mile moss, New Zealand sphagnum moss. So I'm just going to take a little bit here, break it up a little, throw it in here. This is just a tray. So I have the moss sitting in here, and I'm just going to put some water on it so it dampens the moss. So this is the amount of moss I'm going to wet, but it's probably too much moss. But as you can see, this moss is super clean. I really prefer this brand. So now I'm going to get some reverse osmosis water, which is just pure water with no minerals or chemicals or any of that stuff, pesticides. And I'm going to just wet the moss. So I'll show you real quick. All right, so this is reverse osmosis water. This is just a refilled jug. So let me show you. So I just take the moss like this and dump water on it. So you don't need that much. I just dumped like, I don't know, 2 cups. I'll do a little more. And we're just gonna wait for the moss to absorb the water. And then once the moss is fully wet, we're gonna squeeze it out, put it in another tray, and then we're gonna pot the plants. So I'm gonna let this soak up all the water, and I'll be right back. Also, you'll see right now this is super like yellow or white, but when it's wet, it'll be brownish, like a dark tan to brown color. And you also want to remove any sticks like this. So I'm just sorting through this, removing some of the sticks and impurities. And then once the moss is good to go, we will pot these keikis up. Here's another stick. I'm just kind of moving the moss around so that it can properly soak up the water, because you don't want some of the moss to be dry and some of it to be wet. You want it all to be consistent. All right, so here's what it looks like when it's damp or wet. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna take this and gently squeeze it. You don't want to like kill it. You just kind of want to gently squeeze it out like this. But I'm not gonna squeeze really hard. So just get the excess moisture out, and you want it to be damp like this. So now that I have this ball, I'm just gonna separate it so it's a little more airy in strands. So I'm just separating it and putting it in another tray. Get some more here. Same thing, just squeeze it out, separate it. That's done. And the last bit, same thing, squeeze it out. And then separate it into here. Alright, so now we have our dampened moss. As you can see, it's not as white or light tan. It's more of a brown to dark tan. And it's all separated out, so this is perfect. So now, these are the 2.5 inch pots that I'm going to be using. So just a normal nursery pot for orchids, clear pot. You can put these in water so that the roots are green and they're more pliable. But because I've repotted a lot of keikis before, I'm just gonna go with the dry roots. And I'll show you an example of a repotted keiki into moss. So this is a Ludomaniana cerulean, and you can see the root development's really good. I think it started out with around 4 roots, and they love moss when you put them in. The plant that I took these 3 keikis from, was also Ludomaniana cerulean. Ludomaniana and Equestrius, they just produce keikis a lot. So you're going to have to be removing keikis if you have those 2 plants. They're really cool species. I highly recommend getting one if you don't have one already. But let's go ahead and get these in the pots. Alright, so as you can see, these roots are kind of sticking up. All you're going to want to do is just bring them down like this. And like I said in my last video, you want to try to avoid cracking the roots, but it doesn't really matter that much. You just don't want to crack it in like 6 spots on one root, because usually the root will die. If you crack it once or twice, it's fine. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to make a little... This is what I do for keikis. I make a little ball of moss like this. And I'm not pushing it together. I'm just rolling it like a snowball, kind of. Or like dough. And I'm going to put it right in the center of the plant like this. And I'm going to wrap the roots around the moss. I'll show you why that's key in a second here, but kind of separate the roots. So this is what it looks like. You have roots all around the moss ball, and then now all I'm going to do, put it right in here. Sorry, I'm trying to get this on screen. And you can see, because the roots are long, that the plant's going to stick out of the pot a little. That's fine. I just wrap moss around the top. So I'm going to get this bamboo skewer, because right here, we have an air pocket. It's hard to see on camera, but I'm just going to push the moss down so there's no air pockets. But I'm trying not to pack it super tight, because they're keikis and they're not really used to tightly packed, moist conditions. So let me show you what it looks like before I finish it. So you just have the roots on the outside of the pot. This is good because the roots won't be super wet all the time. And you'll also be able to monitor if the keiki likes being in the moss or how the roots are growing. So that's how you can get the roots on the outside of the pot. So now we have this. See at the top here, there's not a lot of moss. So I'm just going to take some moss, put it in around the pot. And I'm just literally packing it around the roots, but I'm not pushing super hard. So the first step is the most important. With the moss, you want to make a ball and wrap the roots around the ball. And then here, I'm just kind of packing it around the roots on top so they also have access to moisture. This is perfect right here. We have the roots on the outside, like these. And then on top, we have moss loosely wrapped around the roots. So this is one done, and let's do the other 2. I'll probably speed this part of the video up, because I'm going to be doing the same exact thing, but I'm going to pot these up real quick.
So
Same thing, I just made the ball, put it in the center of the plant, and then wrap the moss around the top of the plant, because inside it's already good. And here you go. This is the second one. You can see the roots. Not super packed moss, but I did push down a little bit. And let's do the third one. Same thing, I'm going to get a ball of moss. See it stick here, so I'm just going to remove it. And now this one, I'm going to have to pull the roots down because this one's kind of going up. So put this in here. And I just wrapped the bottom roots around the ball so it doesn't push up too much in the pot. So I'm going to go like this. Just put it in the center. And then fill around the top. And there you go. That's the 3 keikis potted up. Super easy, super fast. And you want to leave these dry to damp for about a month. And after about a month, they'll get used to more access to moisture, and then you can water them normally. But let me just show you the 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's all you have to do for a keiki. Now you have a clone of your plant, a full other plant, and you're good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and let me know any suggestions for content you guys want to see. And I hope you liked the video. See you guys next time. Bye.